What's up, everybody? Welcome to the No Contest Wrestling Podcast. I am the heel that you love to hate, O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Hey, yo, it's me. It's that TOOJIGG2JG, TJ Jefferson.
And TJ, I mean, we've started the show off strong. Mm-hmm. We got to stay strong.
Got to stay strong.
We got to have our third guest be stronger than the last two almost.
I would say maybe stronger than anybody.
So I guess we got to have the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, will be joining us today.
Yeah,
we'll ask
doubt.
him a bunch of questions, as two wrestling fans do when you get to talk to a legend. We really wanted to have a current WWE with CM Punk, current AEW with Swerve. So we had to go in the legendary tier, and we got Mark Henry today, man.
No doubt,
what a beast.
The world's strongest man, you know, and I went back and I rewatched his A&E biography last night just to, refresh my memory. And Mark Henry, man, he's been in the game for many years. He's accomplished a lot, and I can't wait to chop it up with him today.
Exactly. But before we get to Mark, you know how we do. We got a show to run, guys. So we're going to start with a recap of what's been going on in the wrestling world, just the hot topics.
Yeah, man. So, we'll recap starting back last Friday, SmackDown. The OG Bloodline is coming. I think we all knew that was.
Yes.
We had our fingers crossed. We could see it. Jimmy and Jay have reunited. The Motor City Machine Guns. Let's throw it up. Motor City. They come in third match, I believe. Third match, second match, third match.
Third, I believe.
They become your new SmackDown World Tag Team Champions. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Then you had Triple H telling Randy Orton he's protecting him from Kevin Owens.
Which is just
that's wild.
Rude.
Rude. That's kind of interesting. We'll see how the Evolution former bandmates, if you will. We'll see how this plays out.
Randy Orton's a 14-time champion.
Yeah, that's Randall K, and he will be sitting here at some point. I'm just going to manifest that. Then we had Collision on Saturday. You had Jay White took over, beat Shane Taylor. We had the Outrunners, who I'm starting to feel the Outrunners a little bit. I love the 80s.
They're so
gimmick.
retro.
They're retro.
They're so retro. They make me feel like just that old-timey wrestling.
They make me feel like it's Saturday night at 6:05 and I'm watching the Midnight Express take on the Rock and Roll Express. It's that type of feeling.
They're doing it very well.
Yeah.
Shout out to them.
Outrunners, they defeated the M times M collection. That's Mason and Mansoor. I always get that wrong a little bit. Right. Ricochet over Leo Rush. I just want to point this out. I saw those two go at it at a Pro Wrestling Guerrilla PWG show back in 2017. Then literally 2 years to the day, they were in a tag team match on Raw against each other. 2 years to the day after I saw that.
Wow.
And so now they had their little match on Collision. Great match. Ricochet, of course, went over. FTR, they defeated LFI in a tag team match. And then...
Don't like that. Keep going.
And then we'll get Dynamite tonight. We're going to have Swerve with Prince Nana against Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah, that's exciting.
The Brickhouse Camille is going to take on Chris Statlander. I can't wait to watch that match. We'll see Hangman Adam Page and Adam Cole. I saw you tweet about this.
Yeah.
Going to take on Buddy Matthews.
Dude, I just feel like the House of Black, they have everything.
Everything.
They have everything.
They got the big man.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. Brody Lee. They got Brody King. Brody King. Rest in peace, Brody Lee. Brody King. They got my man Malachi and Buddy. They just have everything that you would want from a dynamic group.
Yeah.
And they got the charisma, and you believe everybody you see in the house. And so They should be running it over there. They should be. I don't know what's going on.
We know somebody's going to step up to the BCC. Is it going to be the House of Black?
Man, dude. That when I see that team, I just see box office. I see the things that are happening with the Wyatt Six are great, but when I see them, that's what I want from a team I'm scared of.
Right.
So they got the pieces. I don't know the politics of what's happening on AEW. But just know, House of Black, I see you.
We're in their corner. And I was a big Tommy N fan back in the day. Then he went to, Aleister Black, now Malachi
Aleister Black was the king of NXT, bro.
I mean, this guy he's a phenomenal talent. To me, he should be on the top of anyone's card. And I hope that he eventually does get that shot.
Black Mass is such a great, out of nowhere.
And then you had TNA. They had a pay-per-view, Bound for Glory. Frankie Kazarian, he won the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match, which is equivalent to winning a Money in the Bank briefcase. He gets to call his shot for any title, anytime, any place. It'll be interesting to see. Speedball Mike Bailey retain the X Division championships. Big one. Mike Santana over Moose. I like Santana. Okay. I like Moose. That was a good big man battle. And then we got Anu. Masha Slamovich became the new Knockouts World Champion, defeating Jordan Grace.
Okay.
I think we all kind of feel Jordan's going to make that NXT move soon.
That's definitely, and honestly, that's what they feel about, I don't want to say his name. He might appear. But, I see a lot of people upset that they didn't put my man Joe over. And, people who assume that they're going to make the move. We don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm not going to be mad if it does.
Yeah, right. No doubt. And then, I'm watching this pay-per-view, and I'm going to be honest with you. At one point, I'm watching the main event, which was a tag team turmoil match, right? Full Metal Mayhem, I'm sorry. And I'm like, really, the Hardys? And then when it was over, I was like, yeah, the Hardys. Because I'm telling you, pro wrestling, we have that nostalgia factor.
Yeah.
And at first, I didn't think I wanted it. But as the match was going on, I'm like, I not only do I want it, I need it. So congratulations to the Hardy brothers for becoming TNA Tag Team Champions. Look, man, sometimes you got to turn the clock back in wrestling.
Yeah.
And this was a point where it was kind of appropriate to let one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
We're at a point in our lives where the Hardys are the tag team champions over at TNA and the Motor City Machine Guns are in the WWE.
Like, what's going on?
What's happening?
I love it.
Simulation is going crazy.
And, of course, Nick Nemeth, he retained the Impact TNA World Championship. And we want to give a shout-out to Chris Bay. He suffered a neck injury in that match. He had surgery. Hopefully he gets well and he's able to return sooner than later. Another thing that happened, O'Shea, that was pretty big, and, we'll continue the recap later, is Samantha Irvin. She left WWE.
The GOAT.
What are your thoughts on that? Because the IWC had thoughts, and I got to be honest, I'm shaking my head at a lot of you.
Yeah, IWC, bro, I hate that just by being on the internet and being a wrestling fan that I am somehow included with some of y'all. Get it together. Like, it's honestly disgusting. It's a joke, bro. At the end of the day, these are not your toys.
Yeah.
These are people with real lives, real aspirations and dreams that they want to see out. And some of the responses that Samantha got are just crazy. When I saw it, I was upset, obviously, because I am such a fan of Samantha's work because she very quickly jumped to the top of my list of favorite ring announcers.
You and a lot of people.
Yeah, and so, that part hurts when things come to an end, but just some of the vile things that were said to her are just uncalled for. I've never used this term before, but now I completely understand what it means. Go touch grass. All right. Just recognize that you're tripping. And Samantha, we wish you the best of luck.
Absolutely.
In anything you do, you're going to have supporters from your time in wrestling. I will be one of them. TJ will be one of them.
No doubt.
Yeah, dude, it's a joke.
It's crazy because people have to understand these are people who have their own lives to lead. They have their own dreams. She said, believe it or not, for as good as she was, she didn't really like being a ring announcer, which is pretty amazing because for something that her heart wasn't into.
Yeah, I'm just really great at it.
The amount of ass she kicked that you can't even put a number to, right? Yeah. So whatever it is that she goes on to do, I'm hoping that real fan base, the real people, the real fans will follow her and help elevate her to whatever it is that she wants to do. She's a very talented woman, great singer. I'm sure the sky's the limit, and I'm hoping nothing but the best for her. And if she does choose to go to AEW, which a lot of people were having issue with, which Ricochet said she wasn't, but can you blame her? Your significant other's in another company. You're both on the road all the time. Why not kind of, merge those two and spend time with the person that you ultimately are going to spend the rest of your life with? Right. Whatever the reason, I don't know. I don't know either one of them, but I wish her the best. Yeah. You can't hate on that.
You cannot hate on it. And once again, thank you, Samantha, for everything. Yeah. To the people of the IWC who had something negative to say about it.
We got 2 words for you.
I got 3.
Yeah.
Eat it.
We might have to bleep that out. I don't know. But quickly, let's finish up. Raw last night, or Monday night rather. The Usos, we got them back together, but under a caveat.
Yeah.
Jimmy has to be Jimmy Uso. Jay has to be Jay Uso. They won, like he said, they know us apart now, which was really a kind of a dope moment because for so many years, we couldn't tell them apart.
Yeah, it was just the Usos.
The Usos, yeah.
And honestly, if that's the case, how about y'all break up that Twitter account then? Right. Because I don't know who's tweeting when that happens. I wanted y'all to start beefing through the Twitter account. It just comes from the same place.
Yeah, so.
Thought that'd be hilarious. But we've been waiting to see that hug for a long time.
It was powerful.
Yeah, it was a great moment.
And then, so now you got Sami Zayn. We're assuming he might be the fourth man because, to finish, Usos are going to go to SmackDown. The OTC is going to be there. I'm assuming he's going to apologize to Jay. We're going to kumbaya. We're going to get this straight because we got a War Games to prepare for.
Yeah.
Is Sami Zayn going to be that guy? Sami didn't seem happy about the reunion of the Uso brothers. We saw him talking to Solo in the parking lot.
Which is wild.
It's wild. We're going to see where this goes.
Solo never even liked you.
Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins, they brawled inside the building, outside the building, in a production truck.
Yeah.
How about
Bronson taking that super stomp,
right,
and just eating it.
Bronson Reed, man, big ups,
push him to the moon,
to the big man. And then of course you had our boy Dirty Dom. He picked up a totally clean, totally unassisted victory against Damian Priest with no help from anybody because Dirty Dom don't need nobody's help.
That's right.
Okay,
future world champion.
Yeah, right. And then NXT, Trick Daddy, Trick Williams, that's our guy. Him and Bubba Ray Dudley, they got a little something cooking up together. And
definitely got to ask Mark about that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Also got to ask Mark about Samantha. He's the one that kind of found her.
We definitely will. And Zarya, formerly Delta, she made her much anticipated NXT debut. And right now we're kind of seeing the War Games come together, right? We have Zarya, we have Julia, we have Stephanie Vacour, we have Kalani Jordan, and we have the juggernaut Jordan Grace. She came out, got the loudest pop of all of them.
Unfair team in the history of NXT.
And it looks like those 5 women will be taking on the NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, and Fatal Influence in that War Games match. I think that's where we're going.
It's rigged, bro.
And at the end of NXT, we find a bloody Rhea Ripley in the parking lot at the hands of Liv and Raquel. And one thing you got to know about NXT, the parking lot is where it all goes down. Watch your back. Keep your head on the swivel.
Yeah, man. That was cool. Did you just come up with that?
Right then and there.
That was nice, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah. A lot of people have their things to say about this feud, but it ain't over till it's over. The Raquel angle of it now puts a new layer. If you know anything about the history of Raquel and Rhea, it does add something else to it. But man, the Judgment Day and just their shenanigans just won't die.
Yeah, right. I'm interested to see where this is going. And guys, remember, please follow us on all of our socials. There's No Contest on Twitter, at No Contest Wrestling Podcast on Instagram. You can find us on the Rich Eisen Show YouTube channel, where you can find all of our videos there.
And as promised, our guest. Now, TJ, there's 3 people I shook their hands and I felt like, damn.
Okay.
All right. Shaquille O'Neal.
Understandable.
Now, usually when a man shake your hand, a clap noise is supposed to happen. It was silent. I didn't like that at all.
Just it enveloped the sound.
Just engulfed my hand. James Harrison outside of the Rich Eisen Show.
This was last week.
Yeah, I shook his hand and my pinky knuckle popped. I didn't like that.
I accidentally said a P word to James Harrison. A little bit of spit flew. I watched it go slow motion. It landed on the shoulder. I'm like, please don't see that. He goes, I see you just spit on me. I went, oh.
You lucky to be alive.
I'm lucky I'm here for this interview.
And the third one is this man right here. The hamburger helpers on Mark Henry. Mark, thank you so much.
Look at that. Look at that.
Thank you so much for joining us on the pod.
You know the amount of weight that hand is lifted?
Dude,
do you know the amount of metal that hand's crushed?
He been quarters. That's insane. I'm so appreciative of you, Mark, for being on the show. You obviously have an eye for talent. We'll get to that later on in the pod, but you grabbed me off of Twitter. You told me you talking to the wrong people, and you invited me to my friends over there, Busted Open. Shout out LaGreca, shout out Ray and the boys. And so I would love to have this full circle moment and welcome you, my friend, to the No Contest Wrestling
Yes,
Podcast.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Well, I sure appreciate it. I'm glad to be on with you. The Mark Henry show is soon to arrive.
Okay.
And I will be hitting you up.
Easy. I'll fly to you.
Like both of y'all.
Oh,
y'all
me too.
come to Austin and we're gonna get it in.
I got people in Austin, Mark. I'll do that.
Man, like it's Austin a great city. It's a lot of fun. I think one of the hidden gems of America. There's a lot to be desired, just like it is anywhere else.
Facts.
For equality reasons. But outside of that, business, the money, the influence, the entertainment, you can't beat Austin outside of New York and LA.
What I know you for, obviously, is wrestling. So when did you become a fan? How did you get into the WWE, then F? Take us down that journey of being a wrestling fan turned wrestler.
I watched wrestling since I was, like a little kid. I mean, I remember Saturday mornings after Kung Fu Theater would go off, and I watched the Shaw Brothers when I thought I was pie made for a little while. I would watch wrestling afterwards. And my grandmother said, "You like wrestling?" And I was like, "Yes." And she said, "Oh, we got to go." I was like, "Go where?" And she said, "To the wrestling."
Oh, yeah.
I was just silent. And she said, "I'm going to get us a bus ticket to Beaumont."
Oh,
and
shout out to Beaumont.
Like, man, me and my grandmother would go to Silsbee to where the ice house is, pick up the bus they used to drive through, go to Beaumont. It was $7 to go to Beaumont. And we would go watch wrestling at the Beaumont Civic Center. And, bro, I got to see everybody. Jake Roberts, Ted DiBiase, JYD, Nam, Jose Lothario, Andre the Giant. And I mean, just everybody that you can imagine during that era of the 70s, the late 70s through 85, 84, I used to go watch. Bro, it was like the best thing that ever happened to me. Me and my grandma, like that was, don't nobody else in my family watch wrestling.
Man.
Yeah.
Mind you, I wrestled for 25 years with the WWE. 25 years. Nobody in my family ever asked me for a ticket to WrestleMania.
What?
Man, you lucky I'm not related.
That's crazy.
Never.
And that touches me, Mark, because as I've said on our podcast, my grandpa was the one who got me into wrestling. And it was the two of us, and Saturday nights at 6:05, everyone knew the TV was getting changed to WTBS.
I don't care what you watch.
Mark, at 6:04, your show was ending. It didn't matter what it was. If you started it at 6, at 6:04, I hope you was done, because 6:05, me and Grandpa were changing it to wrestling.
Yeah.
He would take me to the Jaffa Mosque in Altoona, Pennsylvania. So to hear that story about you and your grandma, man, that touched me and that hit me, because
I've
that's
heard
how
that story from 1,000 people.
Yeah, that's how my journey
minimum.
started.
Like, man, my grandma, my dad, my uncle, my brother's best friend took me. Like, whatever. Somebody took you to, and it just was over. I just confirmed today that that I'm doing the ending of the documentary on JYD.
Oh, word.
Like, I'm going to be talking about his life.
Okay.
And I did Dark Side of the Ring that's coming out here pretty soon. And I never did Dark Side of the Ring because I didn't agree with Dark Side of the Ring, because I thought that, it was too much of an expose of the bad side of wrestling. Mm-hmm. But I told them, I said, you know what, man, I can't do it. And why? And I was like, because of the way that I feel about it. I said, if y'all ever put a silver lining on it, and ended some of those things with the good of people, then I would do it, especially the way y'all paint black people. Y'all don't paint black people in a positive light on these shows. And they said, so if we allowed you to help produce it, you would do it? I said, yep. So I did Tony Atlas, and Tony Atlas is coming out soon.
That's what's up.
So when you see the Dark Side of the Ring, Tony Atlas, you're going to see that is awesome.
Mark Henry, breaking news here.
Right?
Breaking news
and
on
I'm
no
not
contest.
saying that because it's me. I'm saying it because I told the truth.
Yeah.
And how the perception, I saw Tony Atlas. I watched my grandmother embarrass the hell out of me because she started fanning herself when Tony Atlas came out.
We got it.
And I'm like, Granny, stop.
Mr. USA.
Like she was like, ooh, that boy is put together.
Oh, put together.
Like, I can't take it no more. Please stop. And I told Tony that when I started riding with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, man, can you tell me about your life? And his life is tragic.
Mm.
Tony became who he became because he was not loved. His family threw him away. You heard Tommy Davidson's story?
No.
Tommy Davidson's biological mother put him in a garbage bag and threw him in a dumpster.
Never knew that.
And a woman heard him crying and pulled the bag out, and there was a baby in there. That's basically the Tony Atlas story. Mm. Like, there's people that went through shit that we can't even fathom.
Yeah.
Both of y'all was loved, just like I was loved. There's people on this planet, they medicate themselves to not think about the shit they went through. And Tony was one of them. He just had talent. He just happened to be extremely talented. And he was able to succeed in spite of it. And that's the story that I talk about. The strength that he had to persevere and to be who he became and how he failed. Yeah, he failed. Mm-hmm. But he got up. And Tony was homeless, living in a park. And a woman found him and cleaned him up and said, listen, he was trying to be helpful. And this woman said, why are you sleeping in this park? And he said, I drank all my money and smoked all my money. I belong out here. And she said, no, you don't. And she had to reprogram him. How blessed is he to be able to find her?
Are they're together too, right, Mark?
And say it again.
They're together. If I'm not.
Yes, he married her.
Okay.
And she had a stroke, and he takes care of her now. She's 100% handicapped, and he had to take care of her. So God basically was like, "Hey, I'm gonna take care of you. Now it's your turn."
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And it's a beautiful story, man. And Tony, they asked me during the time, like, hey, man, we're thinking about putting a manager with you. Like, and they gave me this option. Hey, this guy, and what about this guy? And maybe Brother Love and this guy. And I said, they mentioned Tony Atlas. I said, like, Tony Atlas? And it was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah, I want Tony Atlas.
Mr. USA?
Yeah.
And they brought Tony in, and he managed me. And Tony said, Mark, the house I live in it because I bought it with the money I made working with you. He said, if it wasn't for you, I'd still be in that park, man, homeless.
That's going to make you feel amazing, Mark.
I feel great, but not as good as people are going to feel once they hear the story of how he persevered and got his life together. And now he's working out kids, training kids and people in the gym, getting them right. And like he living a good life now. He don't drink or smoke no more. Like all he does is take care of Monica.
That's amazing.
And I'm just like, if you allow me to tell that story, yeah, I'll do it.
Mark, when's this going to come out? When's this going to drop? When can we watch it?
You know what? I think it's like the beginning of like the middle of November to the beginning of December.
Oh, that's
I have
soon.
to check. Yeah. I'll let them guys. I'll call them tomorrow, and I'll text you and give you the information. That way you can put the date in here.
Please do. Well, Mark, you mentioned Tony Atlas, and if you don't know, Tony Atlas, along with Rocky the Soul Man Johnson, were the first Black WWE Tag Team Champions ever. Rocky Johnson had a son named Dwayne. You guys trained together.
Little Dewey
back in the day. We lived together.
You lived together. So I want to transition to that, Mark. Signing with the WWF, who trained with you? You moved up to Stamford, Connecticut. Dr. Tom Pritchard was training you. You were in a class with Dwayne Johnson, who became Rocky Maivia. Can you tell us about your start?
Well, there was no class.
There was no class. Okay.
It was just me. I was the first developmental wrestler. Everybody else came from territories. And Vince decided that he was going to train the future to be where he thought pro wrestlers should be. Mm-hmm. And they started with me. And I was there for about 6 months. And Dwayne went to Canada and played football, and it didn't pan out. He just said, man, I'm not as good as I thought I was, but I've always wanted to wrestle. And he ended up going back home to Florida, and his dad started working with him, and they brought him up to Connecticut, and he had $7 in his pocket.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, you mind if I sleep on your couch for a little while? Like, I'll pay you when they give me my first check. And I said, man, I got 2 bedrooms because I was paid.
Now, Mark, before that, you had signed a 10-year deal with WWF, correct? Under really no contingency other than if you decided to wrestle that you would go there, right?
Right.
Okay.
And I'm very loyal. Like, man, I was at the Cowboys training camp in '95, and I thought I was going to go back and play football again, man, and I loved it. And I was good at it. But wrestling, it just, did something to my soul, man. Like my son. My son Jacob is ate up with it. He loved wrestling more than anything. If I told him, hey, man, you could drop out of college right now and go to NXT and wrestle, he done. He packing his shit and he'll be on his way to Orlando. But I'm not allowing that. I want him to have a life outside of WWE. I want him to know stuff and to have an education. And I think it will make him more valuable down there when that education is over.
Now, when you say your son, you talking about the Oklahoma Sooner, Jacob Henry? From Oklahoma, right?
It's too soon.
Oklahoma.
O'Shea, you know how much that
Let's
hurts,
go back.
man.
Let's go back. Can we go back to the Rock?
Please.
Our viewers need this information.
Moving into my apartment and eating all my food and leaving turn the air conditioner on 75. So he's from Florida and he ain't like it cold. And I used to keep it at a balmy 68.
Okay.
Wow.
So I wouldn't sweat while I was just sitting in the house.
And it was your crib, so you controlled the AC then, right, Mark?
Sweating,
I was
just
like, hey, man, let me come in here one more time, and it's 78 degrees. Like, me and you're going to have it. You're going to have to go get your own place.
So, Mark, in 96, also, Dory Funk came, right? And he brought the Funkin' Dojo. And
yeah, man.
You started training with a bunch of guys at that point.
Bro,
correct?
Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. Edge and Christian.
Yeah.
The Hardy Boys. Val Venus.
Taka Michinoku, I saw.
Taka was in there. It was so many people. Me and Dwayne was in there.
Steve Blackman, was he with you?
Yep. It was just like all of these guys that were on the way to, being stars. And Rodney Blackbeard, he didn't make it, but he was good, man. Man, he was good.
Rodney Blackbeard, that's an interesting name.
He was Bad News Brown's student.
Okay.
Up in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and Toronto. Like a bunch, there was a few Canadian boys. Edge and Christian ended up being the most famous out of that group, but there was several other. Andrew Martin, Tess
yes.
was in, like, it was so many people that you would know who they are. The people that didn't make it, like, they were highly regarded people, like Glenn Coker, who played like 10 years of Canadian football, was like the equivalent of an all-pro in Canadian football. Like, it was just like, it was a who's who of badassery, man. Like, I learned so much from Dory Funk. Dory was the one that told me, you need to stop trying to be wrestling and just be you. He said, you enough. He said, have you ever look in the mirror? And I jokingly said, yeah, I'm pretty cute, huh? He was like, nah. He said, nah. He said, if anybody ever told you was cute, they lied to you. He said, you need to go be nasty. But I never wanted to do that. I never wanted to be the nasty guy. And Eddie Guerrero, I met Eddie, and Eddie said the same thing, except for Eddie put his stank on it. Eddie said, look, man, like, it was one of those big walls that was a mirror. And Eddie said, man, come here, man. And he was standing there in the mirror, and he was looking at himself, and he said, stand in front of me. And I stood. He said, what do you see? And I did that same dumb shit, self-deprecating hiding is what I call it. Oh, man, I see he's a handsome guy. Eddie said, nah. He said, I'm going to tell you what I see. I see somebody that if he was as mean as he looks, that he would be the best in this business, that he would own this business. He said, if I was you, if I was your size and I looked like you, I would be dead or I would be in jail, because I would make every man fear me that walked this planet. And he cut this god-awful promo on me. and I turned around and looked at him, and, I'm expecting to see the fun-loving Eddie that, I was used to seeing. And he was damn near crying. He said, you being a waste. He said, you're being a waste, man. He said, you can go out there and help us all make some money. He said, you need to be, and that was a wake-up call for me.
How'd that feel, Mark, when Eddie said that?
It sucked.
Yeah.
It sucked to told that you're being a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Benoit, same thing. Man, you need to tighten up, man. Like, we need you to be a monster. Like, there's enough sweet big guys walking around here. It's like, we don't need that. Everybody knows that when you get angry, we saw you angry before. He's like, why didn't you be that dude? And I said, yeah, because I can't control that dude. That dude goes to jail when he's angry.
Bruce Banner and the Hulk right there.
That's why I don't drink, or I never did drugs. Not because I worried about me. It's because I worried about everybody else. Me not drinking and doing drugs was the best thing to happen to Earth. Because Godzilla, King Kong ain't got shit on me. You ask people in wrestling about when they saw me drunk. What kind of asshole, mean, hold your head down. I stepped on a dude's neck and held his neck down before. You think I enjoyed the next day hearing the people that supposed to respect me telling me how big of a bully. Like, man, that was fucked up, man. Like, why you do him like that? You know, like that's what almost took my ass to jail. And so I had to learn how to protect myself. So I don't drink or smoke. I don't do nothing. Like, I'm stupid enough as it is.
So that side of you that, you know, you view that side as the trouble, you know, that led your life astray, like you spoke about with us earlier. Is that why you didn't believe in bringing it to the forefront? Because you're an entertainer.
I didn't want to portray it.
But
I thought I was shedding a negative light on a representation of my family, of my people. I didn't want to make Black people look bad. I was an Olympian. Like, I had respect. You know, I've been to I might be the only person alive right now that's been to the Kremlin, been to the White House, and been to Parliament. Man, I did some special shit.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go and get drunk and get in the car and have a car accident and kill somebody or beat somebody to death with my hands. And that's kind of out of control that I was as somebody that drank. So I didn't want to portray that. But then Vince told me, he said, listen, man, you need to grow up and learn. He said, if you can control it, you can make all the money. And he was right. Because once I started performing, being who I was really inside, I made a lot of money.
So that's the reason you turned it around then?
That was the main reason I turned it around, because Vince actually played a practical joke on me. And you can see the video in the documentary, and you can show clips of it and educate your fan base. But it didn't go well. It kind of backfired because I threatened to kill everybody. I turned into that guy again. And I tore up about $15,000 worth of shit just because I was angry. And then Vince was like, hey, can I show you something? And they showed me the video of me angry, destroying everything. And you ain't seen no movie in your life that looked like that. There ain't no human on earth that can do the damage that I could do. And I used to do final exam time. So don't think I'm just patting myself on the back. When I say final exam time, everybody that came to Louisville, Kentucky, to Ohio Valley, the martial artists, the karate people, like whatever, I used to do final exam time. I challenged every last one of them. The Brock Lesnar's, the Shelton Benjamin, the Bobby Lashley's, the Ron Watermans, the Don Fry, all of the people that were fighters. I said, come on, let me see if that karate shit worked. I didn't lose a lot. They'll tell you.
I believe it.
Yeah, man.
Shelton kicked my ass.
Shelton?
Shelton could kick everybody's ass.
I've heard stories that say that that's true.
Brock Lesnar hyperextended my knee, but he didn't kick my ass.
Hey, Brock.
That shit was even.
I believe it. Shelton. Mark, real quick question. I want to jump back real quick before we continue going forward. You were talking about your grandma and how she took you to matches. Yeah. Did she ever get a chance to see you in the ring?
See me wrestle?
Yes. Did she ever get that chance?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay. I was wondering about that. I'm so happy that
bro, she was so proud.
That's
like
great.
There was nothing. There was nothing that was better than that to her. Mm-hmm. Like, it made her life. Her and my mom. My mom got to be on when I was doing the thing with China. Mm-hmm. My mom got to whoop me with a belt. Bro, she went back home telling everybody she was a star.
Yeah.
On TV. Like it was hilarious.
That's
It
amazing.
was like those are the things that's the most valuable to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's those special moments that obviously you get with your family that you've been able to achieve during wrestling. You've been around everyone. I mean, you know, you've shaken hands and been in the ring with everyone. I saw you in an interview. You spoke about, just to get back on, when you know you're an entertainer. All right, you like to entertain. That's where you got your kicks. Now, I've seen you talk about Kurt. I've seen you talk about Owen. I've seen you talk about a few guys that made you laugh, that entertained you out the ring. So let me know some of the funniest people that you got to deal with in the business that really split your sides. I can tell right now. I need to know, man. The people need to know.
Santino Marella.
Still doing it.
Oh my God,
John
man.
Cena.
Oh my God.
Listen to me, Mark Henry.
And he's still that guy. He not even trying to be funny. He's funny. Like, I don't know how he's not in Hollywood, like being Jim Carrey, because he does characters like that. And he tells the most off jokes. So it's like he's trying to get canceled. Like I started traveling doing stand-up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
And I called Anthony one time and I said, "Hey man, what was that joke that you told me about the jelly, the jam?" He said, "Mark, you can't tell that joke."
Like, hold on, bro.
And I said, "Why not?" He said, "That is the one joke that'll make everybody in America hate you." I said, "Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, man, he is the best, man. He's so entertaining and glib. Hanging around the boogeyman is absolutely hilarious.
Really?
Ron Simmons and Bradshaw, like, I pray that y'all are able to go and sit with Ron and John. Like,
you can put the good word in for us.
We got to do a four chair for that. We got to do a four chair.
I'm going to call them tomorrow. And I'm going to say, y'all got to come on O'Shea's podcast.
That's what's up.
Right? Yes, sir.
Them dudes are so funny. They are, bro, the Wonder Twins. Like
Zan and Jaina.
I'm old, so the Wonder Twins is the only thing that I could think of that the yin, the yang, like they complement each other perfectly. And it's hilarious. And Ron with the damn is that's just one thing. There's about 50 of them. Ron is a certain look that he makes. He's the best.
He got one word over, and now when you hear that word, everybody thinks of Ron Simmons.
Every time.
Damn.
One word, and he's over.
Word.
Well, Mark, I'm glad you brought up Ron, and we talked about The Rock. I was a fan, so I need to know everything you can share with me about the Nation of Domination years, please.
Oh my God, man! I'm traveling every now and then and doing autograph signings with the entire group except Dwayne. Dwayne's so busy, he ain't got time for that. But we've been doing these little symposiums, me, Ron, D-Lo, and Godfather. And the next one we're doing is in February in London. And just telling stories about the hierarchy. Like a lot of people think that know your role and shut your mouth came from The Rock. That was Ron.
I've heard that.
Ron was the one that used to say that to us.
Ron would tell you to know your role.
It's like, when Ron killed me, man, he's like, listen, Ron will call you slave. He's like, listen up, slave. What?
Wait a minute.
He said, you think you're on the porch, but you ain't on the porch. You ain't even in the yard. You in the field. And matter of fact, you ain't even in the field. You in the river bottoms. He would say to you that would just bust you up. And it was just like so serious. But you just like, oh my God, man, you too much, man. He's just very colorful human being. And bro, I don't know if there's probably ever been nobody that was more athletic than Ron Simmons.
Okay.
I mean, this is a dude that, had a 400-pound bitch that, ran a 4.5 40, that was the only guy to have his name in the stadium at Florida State for years and years until Deion Sanders came along. And then they put Deion's name in there.
He was also a Heisman Trophy finalist, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
right?
Bro, you talk about good company.
Right?
Yeah. Simmons and Deion Sanders.
That's huge.
So, Mark,
Guy,
I mentioned, me and my grandpa going to the Jaffa Mosque in Altoona. I'll share a quick Ron Simmons story. So this was the early 90s. In Altoona, we were a very small town. We didn't get TV tapings, but WCW came to the Jaffa Mosque. They were going to do a Saturday night taping. Had to go. I was very excited, you know. So you'll know me, Mark, but you know me. I kind of maneuvered my way up to the stage where the camera was. So I'm right there, and like every camera shot, I'm like, oh, you'll be able to see me. And I'll never forget this. I had a brand new Georgetown Hoya hoodie on, and I'm standing there, and there's Jim Ross, and he's interviewing everybody. Now out comes Doom. And this is Ron Simmons, Butch Reed, Doom after the masks are off, right?
Okay.
So I'm standing there looking, and I'm right in front of Ron. Like he's up on stage, and I'm down. I'm like, okay, Altoona, there's not that many black kids in this audience where I'm at in this spot right here. He's going to see me.
Yeah.
So I'm standing up on the stage, and I'm looking at Ron Simmons, and he's doing an interview with Jim Ross, and it's Teddy Long. Teddy Long caught a promo, which I can't even say some of the stuff Teddy Long said at that point.
No.
But Mark, Ron Simmons turned around in the crowd, and he looked dead at me because, like I said, I was the only black kid in this area. He did see me, and I'm standing up there like booing Doom through the hills.
Black ass down.
And Ron Simmons looked at me and went, "Shut up, sit down." And I shut up and I sat down. Okay, I shut up, Mark, and I sat down because I was like, "Oh my God, he saw me," and I was like, "Oh."
Hey, Teddy Long is another one. Hilarious.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I mean, everybody got that old black man in their family.
Yeah.
I'm speaking about people of color, by the way.
That's all we can
Everybody
really relate to right now.
got an old black man in their family.
Most of my white counterparts don't have the old black man in their family.
The three of us happen too, though. We happen to have it.
Teddy is him.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
What a legend Teddy Long is, man.
Yeah.
He really is.
Oh, my God. Oh, that would be dope to have.
Teddy has stewed you off too. Anybody that did something wrong to him back in the day, he telling it. He's like, yeah, he had a Ku Klux Klan card. The hell with him.
Yeah, well, hey, I agree. So the Nation, though, right? How? Because they were already going when you came in, right? So what was it like the time to be with the Nation? Because you guys were strong.
No. The Rock brought me into the Nation. The Nation had weeded out all of the other people.
Yeah, there was a couple.
They got rid of the Owen, the Black,
it was the Blackheart, wasn't he?
The Blackheart and Crush and Savio and
which started off the DOA and Los Boricuas kind of formed from
disbanded, and they were just like trying stuff, just getting people, just random.
Yeah,
and finally it got to where Ron and Rock, D-Lo, and Godfather were it. They were the Nation. And then The Rock was like, I want to be the number one.
Yeah.
And he was like, Mark, you're coming in and being my bodyguard, being the heavy, and I'm gonna weasel my way in. And so he brought me into the Nation, and we turned on Ron. Mm-hmm. And that's what broke the Nation up. But me and D-Lo stayed together and became a tag team, and we used to kick ass. And Godfather went on to be the Godfather. Kama ended up becoming the Godfather,
the ultimate fighting machine.
And like everybody in the nation has success. There's not one character that came from the nation that didn't have individual title success. And you had The Rock be world champion. You had Ron Simmons be world champion. You had me be world champion. D-Lo was Intercontinental.
He was a champion in Europe.
Bro, yeah, he had Euro and Intercontinental.
I'm
a champion.
Man, we just did it. We did the damn thing. There's no other faction other than DX that was able to do what we were able to do.
Now let me know what's so from the nation. Let me know about Sexual Chocolate.
Sexual Chocolate. My God. They play so fine, don't you agree?
Don't you agree?
By the way, Mark, since you laughed at that, tomorrow or on Halloween, my Halloween costume is Jackson Heights old Mr. Rander Watson. Mr. Rander, put your hands together. So yeah, that's who I'll be for Halloween this year on the Rich Eisen show.
Fine. That boy good.
That boy good.
That boy good.
He can sing.
That boy good.
Yeah, good and terrible.
But it's like, man, I asked Vince, could I entertain? I just want to go have fun, man, and it's not about the winning and losing. Like, I want to entertain, and Vince said, we invested too much money in you. Like, I'm not going to make you a comedy act. And I said, just let me try it just one time and show you that I can make it work. No, Mark. Like, I said, just one time on a house show. Can I do it on a live event? And he said, all right, one time, and like, strap your boots up. No more red boots. I want you to wear black boots, and I want you to be a killer. Like, no more fun. I'm like, all right. Bro, I went out there. I put together the best comedy match with Val Venus. I had a match with Val Venus. And the whole premise of the match was me putting him down and me going to get this girl phone number out the audience. And I'm winking at this girl and I'm waving at her the whole time. I'm locking up, pushing him off, and I'm flexing. Hey, girl, what's up? Yeah, doing all of the cheap shit. And finally, I went to go out of the ring, and Val kicked me in the ass. And then I got mad. And then I just started whomping and stomping and throwing and backdropping and clotheslining and splashing. And then I looked up, I'm finna cover him, and I looked up and I see the girl and I roll out. And I put my arm on the barricade like this, and I'm talking to her like, hey, so what you doing later on?
What's good? What's good?
We get together, and I'm getting tapped on the shoulder, and I'm thinking it's the referee. Yeah. But it's Val Venus. And I'm still like talking to the girl. I'm like, yeah, I'm saying this thing. Like, go home, ref, go home. Yeah. Oh, bang, bang, bang. I get thrown in the steps. They throw me back in the ring. He hits me with his gimmick, and I kick out. I hit him with mine. Boom, 1, 2, 3. And I cheer, and then I go. And then I go out and I go back and I start talking to the girl. Yeah. I came in the back and it was a standing ovation from all the wrestlers. Like I was performing. I was telling stories without words.
Right.
Anybody can get it. And like, it was Vince maybe once or twice in my life. Once that night that I turned into Sexual Chocolate, and when I beat Randy for the World Championship, Vince came and hugged me. He was just like, damn it, man. Like, that's what we do. That is the business. And it's a lot of guys that went their whole career and they never got Vince pulling his glasses down and going, just a clap. I got a clap a bunch of times. I'm lucky. I was a good performer. I got my love. But I got 2 hugs. And there's 2 more hugs than probably everybody except for like Taker and Sean and people like that.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's a perfect segue talking about that world title into where we all fear to go, Hall of Pain. Mm-hmm. So what is, that is when you finally bought in, I guess.
Yeah.
You started telling how you destroyed stuff.
Watching that video.
Yeah.
Vince, they played the joke, and Vince was like, "Can I show you this video? I mean, I don't want to start no shit. I'm not,
please.
Like, don't kill me." And I watched it, and I was embarrassed by it. Honestly, I was just like, that is not who I wanted to be represented by. And Vince was like, "Mark, if you can do that, we will make so much money." He said, "I need you to be him." And I said, "I can't. That guy, I will hurt somebody. I can't control that." He said, "Yes, you can." He's like, "Man, like, try." And what you saw was a fraction of the anger and hate that I have in me. And that's what the Hall of Pain was. It was probably a half of what I could have that I am when I'm angry. I truly don't care. I didn't have to write a promo. I didn't have to tell you. If I tell you to keep your bill paid, pay it up. Because if I start charging for air, you're going to die.
Oh, my God.
Like, those promos came out of me naturally. Like, that's who the hate in me is. And I just didn't want to be that. But
you tried to keep it bottled up.
When you're performing it, it's funny after the fact. And I started finding joy in going to levels to where there would be seasoned wrestlers. I ain't naming no names. I mean, like, world championship, 6-time, 10-time champions. They like, "Hey, man, you all right? Can I come talk to you?"
Hey, Mark, just want to get a word real quick.
Yeah, man, that shit was awesome. No, like, you all right? Can I, like,
knock?
I used to scare people. They would see me when I got in the mode. When I got there, I would tell the person that I was working, "I'm sorry if I hurt you." And they would be like, "What in the do you mean by?"
Hold on, wait a minute, bro. Whoa.
"I'm sorry.
I'm your friend."
And I'm like, "Bro, I'm going to try my best to control this." And they like, "Pause."
Right. Oh, man.
Man, God bless me to be able to control it, man. Like, I want to.
Bless us all that you can control.
Right, exactly.
It's hard, man. Like, there were nights where I would get in the car after wrestling and I would drive, 3 or 4 hours. I was so juiced up, I couldn't sleep. So I might as well just drive on to the next town. And I had been up all day, but once you get that surge of energy, like, now I know how people that do hard drugs, like, feel. Because I would be, like, wired. Like, I mean, man, a lot of times I would go to bed, like, 4 o'clock in the morning and then wake up at, like, 9 o'clock, go eat breakfast and go work out, and then go to the arena and fall asleep under the tables. and people used to pour water on me and play jokes. Ha ha! I wake up and I got a damn banana peel on my chest. Like some Jello in my hand. Like wrestlers are so damn cruel and stupid. Like they would. Nobody ever like did the Sharpie mustache or none of that stupid shit.
Yeah,
but like I woke up one time with somebody that did a whole roll of toilet paper. They just kept rolling the whole roll on me. So I woke up and I'm like, what in the fuck? And then you hear everybody in the locker room start laughing. Because that's how hard I used to sleep.
Man. Now, Mark, you talked about, how that character got developed, but just so our viewers will understand, if I'm not mistaken, they sent you out for a dark match and left you out there for, 10, 15, 20 minutes? Everybody thought it was going to be a funny idea to beat the traffic and leave. And so you walked back to the gorilla position, you walked backstage, and everyone was gone. And that was the moment you said you lost it and just tore everything up.
Well, while I was in the ring, I said, so this is how you're trying to fire me, right? I said, okay.
Because they sent you out there and just left you there, right? No opponent, no nothing. They just
kept playing different music. And I looked at Scott Armstrong, who was the referee, and Scott said, Mark, I'm sorry, bro. I have nothing to do with this.
He knew.
And because he saw me.
Yeah.
Scott used to ride with me before, and he didn't recognize who he was talking to at this point. You have to ask him. You have to have him on your show. He was like, bro, I don't, like, your face didn't even look like your face. He's like, your eyes, like, got blood red. And, like, it was, like, the scariest shit I ever saw in my life. And when you jumped out of the ring, I was trying to stop you because I didn't want you to kill nobody. He said, you look like, not hurt nobody. He said, you look like you were going to, like, that's what I envisioned somebody that's about to attempt murder would look like.
Death was coming.
And when I came, like, there was only one guy up there. I used to call him Little Ray because he looked like Rey Mysterio. He's a writer named Ryan Ward. And Ryan said, Mark, I'm sorry, man. I have nothing to do with it. He said, that was them. He's like, I'm just here. Please don't hurt nobody.
Please.
And everybody's trying to talk me down. And I'm punching screens and tearing stuff off the walls, flipping over tables. And you know those metal double doors where you have to push the thing in the middle to open the door?
Yeah.
I kicked one of those and tore the metal out the concrete by kicking it.
They had no idea.
Yeah, man, why is it a funny thing?
I'm talking about some Incredible Hulk movie shit where you kick metal and it comes away from the concrete.
I can't imagine just witnessing that and like. Oh.
So you saw me breaking the chain.
Yeah.
Like that was another time when I was angry because like the dude was supposed to get a foul and foul it down to where when I pulled on it, it would break easy.
This is on the steel cage store?
Yeah. He got busy and forgot. And I had to break it for real. A steel chain and a real master lock. Go to Home Depot tomorrow and go. You ain't got to buy this shit. Just go with it. Get a big master lock and a metal chain and see what it feel like. Anybody on earth, ain't nobody else gonna be able to do that. That was one of those Mark Henry God gift things, and it was dangerous to have me angry like that because if I put my hands on a human, they were gonna die. Your body can't sustain that.
No.
Gives you who you are.
See, you gonna make people look at me crazy. They're gonna be like, man, Ice Cube's son just came in here, was looking at chains and locks, and just left. Didn't even buy it.
They're gonna think you're gonna do a biopic on DMX. What my dog had?
So Mark, that Hall of Pain run,
Yeah.
what that culminated in, what that ended with, or maybe even started, was you becoming the world heavyweight champion.
15 years.
We had Swerve Strickland on the show, and we talked about him he was only the 8th black wrestler to become world champion in a major promotion. If I'm not mistaken, that would put you at 4. I think maybe there was Ron, there was Rock, there was Booker, and then there was you.
And then me.
You. So what was, when you found out that you'd be going over Randy Orton, Night of the Champions, what was that feeling like, knowing that you were going to become the man in the company?
I was very happy with Randy Orton because Randy had been champion. He had been doing all the media. He had been doing all of the upfronts and press and open the show, close the show. Like, everything is about you. And he could have said, I don't want to give it up. No, not yet. But he was like, there ain't nothing bigger in wrestling than Mark Henry. And that's an easy decision. Like, I love the dude, not because of what he did for me, because we did a lot for each other. When Randy was coming up, Randy didn't have a stellar career with everybody in the office.
Reputation wasn't that
great. They almost washed their hands of him 2 or 3 times, and I helped with that situation. And he didn't do it because of that. He did it because I was over. He did it because who you gonna lose to? The guy that's the scariest, the most dangerous thing in wrestling, or are you gonna lose to somebody that you really feel like I should beat him?
Right.
So he put the batter in my back too. Of man, there ain't nobody more deserving than you. You earned that, and that's what the office wanted to do, and that's what we did.
What is that night like for you when you lay your head as world champion? How does that feel? That trip home?
I remember getting to my hotel, and I mean, it was hell in a cell. It was a rough match. I had a bunch of scratches and stuff from being in the cage, and I got cleaned up and everything again because I had bled through my shirt, and my shirt was stuck to me on the drive back to the hotel. So I got back to the hotel and I showered again, cleaned up, and I'm laying in the bed and I'm looking at the chair next to me with the title on it with my bag open on the floor. And I ended up putting my feet back on the floor, and I remember crying and looking at the title for like 30 minutes. I just sat there and I was just staring at it like I couldn't believe that it was in my room and that I was sitting here looking at this title like it was a person. And thinking about the history, the 100 and at that time, 28, I think, other men that had held it before me. And the place that I was going to hold even after I was dead, that I would be remembered. All of that stuff came after the noise was down. Yeah. I didn't even have the TV on yet. I was about to turn the TV on, and then I looked over and was just double taped, and I just just sat up and started staring at it. Like I couldn't believe it. I'm sure that at one point, when you were shooting The Mandalorian, which I'm one of the biggest nerds in the world when it comes to Star Wars sagas. I watch every minute of everything that's ever been done Star Wars 10 times. I watch your performance 3 or 4 times each episode. And if I was to be in a Star Wars saga, I would watch it over and over just because, man, look at me. I'm standing like, that's Star Wars. Like, you know, I'm sure
that's
your
how
mom,
I feel about the world title.
your mom and your dad, I'm sure that they looked at your baby pictures and then they looked at stuff you've done in the movie world, and they just do this. Well, I'll be damned.
That I'm sure
that little kid that used to piss the bed.
He still might, Mark. I don't know.
Yeah, man, it be getting wild.
Cold-blooded. Look at this. Like, that's how I felt. I had a parental sense of accomplishment. Like, I was proud of myself, like I was the parent of myself. And I don't know if you ever experienced that yet, but I realized it was like the Olympics. It was like the World Championships. It was like my son being born. It was like my daughter being born. It was like me and my wife getting married. It was a big to-do, and there was nobody to share it with but just me and the title.
It's an out-of-body experience, really.
It was crazy. Like, I'm sitting there like, that's the title.
Yeah.
And people like, you know, I'm mad at people that piss on wrestling. Ryback called the title a prop that, you know, grown men fight over. And, you know, there's been other people that said stupid shit like that. And it makes me angry because it was the complete body of work and the out-of-body experience of what I went through and what I did to pay those dues for that to come home with me. Mm-hmm. And for somebody to trivialize it like that. Mm-hmm. Like, because they couldn't have it.
Yeah.
That sucked. But not in that moment. In that moment, bro, it was just like an overwhelming feeling of accomplishment, pride.
I bet. Did you think at one point what your grandma must be feeling?
Oh man, like I would have gave up everything for my mom and my grandmother to be alive. Like all the money, the houses, cars, and all of that shit. I would give all that up to get a hug from them.
Yeah.
And at that moment, yeah. Yeah. You know, Mark, I got to share with you about my grandpa. You know, like most black men of a certain age, he was a Dodger fan, Brooklyn Dodger fan, you know, and now that the Dodgers are in the, oh man, my family now says it's about me. I'm on Rich's show with them and they see us talking about the Dodgers being in the World Series and my uncles will text me and be like, man, I wish Pop was here just to see you. Because Mark, I would sit and my grandpa, you know, he wasn't an educated man. I want to get off of this quick. He didn't have a great education. He ran away from home at 12 years old in South Carolina in 1932. I would sit summers and read the box score to him. And that's how I learned baseball. You know, my grandpa was my guy. And like I said, my family sits here, especially with the Dodgers now, and they were like, I wish he could see you doing what you're doing,
Man,
talking about the Dodgers.
My grandma,
Unreal.
me and my grandmother, we would watch Star Wars together, and I wish she could have seen me and Obi-Wan.
Man, come on, man.
She loved a show I did called Swagger. Used to come on Apple TV, and we were gearing up for the second season, and she was already gone. And the only time I've ever cried during a performance, I've never been able to like work up tears. I've been blessed with a good life, so I could never like get what I needed to get there. But the very first time I ever cried on camera is in the last episode of Swagger, and it fell on the year of her passing. And so I had it all. I had it worked up. She was with me the whole day, you know. But it's just I know how you feel when you say that hug. Yeah, that hug. But man, 15 years. They'll never take that away from you, Mark. They'll never take it away from you.
Can't.
No, I'm telling you, man. Like I think about it to this day. Like winning. I think about that, me sitting on the edge of the bed, looking at the title. I think about the next day going to the arena with that. I put it in the seat belt in the front seat and drove up to the arena. Yeah. And I parked the car and I unsnapped the seat belt and grabbed the title and then got out the car, got my bag, and I went inside. And I kind of laughed to myself because nobody saw that but me. Like it would have been entertaining if somebody else would have saw it.
Right.
But I did that.
Yeah.
So like I get your grandfather not being, like the people that missed it. I don't think they really missed it.
No.
I think that, when you die, your consciousness leaves and goes to the ether, but your spirit is still with you. Like spirits stay with you. Nobody would have never saw a ghost before if there wasn't spirits.
Right.
Nobody would have never saw one. And I've seen one.
Absolutely.
So I know that realm exists. And they saw it. They just you couldn't access them. And like that's the I don't know if I would even want to. I think that it'll be better when you go and you see them again.
Yeah.
Like that's when like you're gonna get another, like, man, just like think about like you not seeing one of your homies forever. Right. And then you run into each other like, man, where the hell you been? Bro, like that day that you see your grandfather again, it's gonna be like every celebration combined.
Yeah.
Like to be able to see my mother and grandmother again gonna be, bro, that's gonna be awesome.
We have part 2 of Mark Henry coming out, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted to share this with you. Last week we had The Miz come on the main show, on the Rich Eisen show. And when we get a wrestling guest, Rich will ask me to fill him in on what's going on. I said, hey, we got to talk about Miz's heel turn on R-Truth.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out Miz doesn't see it as a heel turn. Check it out.
Why did you go heel on us?
Why did I go heel on you? What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you want heel?
I feel like I'm a good guy. I've done everything right. R-Truth is the one that has been the heel the whole time, in my opinion. You don't believe me? I mean, the guy has put me through so much. So much. And then sometimes you just need to turn on someone to make them realize the error in their ways.
That's the
That's the truth right there.
Yeah.
Okay. My bad. I didn't mean to.
You don't believe you.
No, I believe everything you're saying.
Heel. I think I've been babyface this whole time through this whole interview. I complimented your Jets. I said your Jets are going to the playoffs. I said you're going to do great. And you're the one that's being boo-booing everything. You're like, no. You're like, poo-poo. No.
I've gone heel on you.
Yeah, basically. That's how I feel.
By the way, I would love for you to do TJ and O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s podcast, No Contest Wrestling.
I'm in.
Next time you're in town. TJ, I've just booked you a guest right here.
I'm definitely down to have the Miz, man.
You got a question for the Miz? I know you must.
Well, you hit it. We were going to talk about our truth.
Go for it.
You know, he explained why you turned heel.
You saw what Truth was doing to me, right?
Look, he was putting you in situations that you didn't want to be
and
in. As a tag team champion.
I literally spoke to him and told him, stop doing this, please.
Booking you in title matches each and every week.
Title match after I said, in order to make a title relevant and prestigious, you need to make people earn the right to face you for them. That has always been the case. You don't just hand out title matches. You just don't. And then what happens? We lose those title matches. Then what happens? He gets injured, leaves for like 6 weeks, doesn't call me, doesn't text me, doesn't say anything, and then comes back to W. And I'm trying to, by the way, the person that injured him, I'm trying to be a triumph, trying to be a hero, going after this guy.
And this
because my friend, he injured my friend, I'm going after you. And then he calls another person to go after the guy, not me. And then he comes back and goes, hey, guys, I'm here. What do you mean you're here? You didn't want to call, you didn't text, you nothing. And then people are like, wait, how could you stab him in the back? I stabbed him in the back? I don't think so.
So you're not a heel, is what
I'm
you're saying.
the good guy. I should be cheered, applauded, and people should be buying my T-shirts.
The good guy Miz.
That's it.
The good guy Miz.
Hey.
I love it, man. For me, I take particular joy in stuff like that. Us getting these wrestling stars to come on the main show. Before I got on the show, there weren't a lot of them. And since I've been a part of it, we've gotten more and more. And that was one of the things that, led to us sitting here doing this podcast. But yeah, the Miz is here to let you know he doesn't think he was the bad guy. And look,
He's got a point.
Shay, R-Truth was handing out title matches like hard candy at Sunday school. You know what I mean? Like Werther's Originals and Peppermints.
Right.
He was just handing them out. You get a title match. You get a title match.
Miz has a point,
I can understand. But then you see Raw, right? You see what happened.
Yeah.
Miz kind of saw, the Final Testament. The Wyatt Six was coming for him. He went back to R-Truth. Truth dropped him, told him that the Wyatt Six was going to kill him.
I got something for you.
So we're going to see how this all plays out. But shout out to the Miz. You heard him say he will be sitting here with us at some point in the very near future.
Absolutely, man. And you got to love a heel that has a great point. I mean, that's when you start to blend realities. But man, we've had those on the show, right? We talked about how Drew had a good point. Yeah, very.
We talked about how Hangman had a good point.
Very
Now,
good point.
Now Miz has a
good point. But
point.
we will be getting Truth one day. We will be getting Miz one day. But I mean, Miz is kidnapped right now, so I don't know how that's going to work out.
God bless him.
We appreciate you guys so much for checking out the No Contest Wrestling Podcast. Like we said, we will be giving you part 2 of Mark Henry. Another part 2? Yeah, shut up, okay? What do you want me to do?
You know you like it.
What do you want me to do? Yes, another part 2. So please stay tuned and come back next Wednesday for the No Contest Wrestling Podcast. TJ, where can they find us?
Everywhere. On Twitter, there's No Contest. Instagram, No Contest Wrestling Podcast. YouTube, The Rich Eisen Show page, where you'll find all of our videos, all of our clips.
Yeah, so please stay tuned, and we'll see you guys next week.